Hey guys, so we were very fortunate recently to go on a dream holiday to St. Lucia, and for the very first time in our lives we flew business class. And it was an incredible experience flying business class with British Airways. But business class is obviously a very expensive trip for most people, and it was for us as well. But what was unique about our own flight was that we saved a whopping £6,698 for a family of four, traveling about 9 hours thereabouts to St. Lucia. And we did it using what's known as Companion Vouchers, 2 Companion Vouchers to be specific. So today I really want to just unpack that. How on earth did we save that much money and end up paying what was a fraction of what a business class flight might cost ordinarily, so much so that what we actually paid was way less than what we might have paid on economy, as an example. Today's video has been requested by Andy in the comments. I'm just going to put that up on the screen. Andy has asked for this breakdown, particularly for how he might go about living a champagne lifestyle on a lemonade budget. All right, note that everything I'm going to talk about today when it comes to expenses and spending money should only apply to you when it comes to planned expenses. So please do not get a credit card if you have no plans of paying it off in full, which is what we did and what we continue to do in our lives every single month. So this video basically is not meant to show you how to spend money to save money. Nah, that's not what we do here. This video is really meant to help you get the most out of planned expenses, such that if you definitely know you're going to be spending a certain amount of money, then there might be ways in which you can use that planned expenditure to do things such as getting yourself upgraded to business class when you go on your holidays. And finally, although I'm going to be talking about American Express and British Airways on this particular video, this video is not in any way, shape or form sponsored by any of those companies. I'm mainly talking about them today just for illustration purposes, because I have a personal experience of using those various companies. If you're enjoying today's video, give me a thumbs up by hitting that like button below as well. All right, so what on earth is a companion voucher? A companion voucher is one of the most valuable benefits or rewards for using a UK credit card. You essentially get one completely free ticket of the same class when you buy another ticket using Avios Points. All you have to pay is the taxes. Instead of paying this, we paid £1,785, which was for our taxes for that particular flight to the Caribbean. And on top of that, we topped up our Avios Points by paying an additional £415 because we were slightly short on the number of Avios Points we needed. So a total of £2,200 for a family of four for a flight of just under 9 hours to the Caribbean, saving us a total of £6,698 compared to what we should have paid, or what the other people pay who fly business class on a regular. And as I mentioned earlier, to do this, we needed 2 companion vouchers, which got us 4 tickets in total. And on top of that, we needed about 200,000 Avios Points in total, which I'm going to be going into a bit more detail what Avios Points are and how you earn those. Now, what are Avios Points? Avios Points are loyalty rewards that you get from everyday purchases or holiday bookings, for example. You can then convert those Avios Points into flight bookings, hotel bookings, car rentals, or even online shopping. But for this particular video, we're going to focus specifically on how you use the Avios Points that you might get as rewards to book flights. Now, how on earth do you earn Avios Points? There are a number of ways that you can actually go about doing this. Right, so the first one is that you can get sign-up bonuses. The second is that you can get Avios Points by referring a friend. If you have one of the British Airways American Express cards, which I'm going to cover in the next point. The third way you can earn Avios Points is by spending on your British Airways American Express card. Now, there are 2 types of card that I should bring to your attention. I've got them here, okay? So this one here, this blue one, is a free card. You don't need to pay anything annually to have this card, but you earn 1 Avios point for every £1 you spend on this card. The second card is the British American Express Premium Plus card. And for this card, you earn 1.5 Avios points for every £1 you spend. But note that with this card, you do have to pay an annual fee, which at the moment is £250 per year. And it used to be £195 per year to get this card and the benefits associated with it. Now, the fourth way to earn Avios points is to put everyday shopping through your card, okay? So British Airways have an e-shop, an online platform where you can go and do your everyday shopping. So let's say you normally have weekly purchases that you might make ordinarily. You might go to the retailer's website ordinarily to make those purchases, but British Airways have made certain partnerships with various companies and make your purchases from there. You still go to the same website, you don't pay any extra, but you get more Avios points for every pound you spend. So I've got some examples here. If you shop at Marks and Spencer's, then by shopping via the British Airways site, you'd earn 3 Avios points for every £1. If you shop at a shop called Dunelm, you'd earn about 4 Avios points for every £1 that you spend. And the list continues depending on what retailers you typically visit to do your shopping. Now, where can you travel to with these Avios points? You've been collecting them, where can you go with them? Pretty much everywhere is the answer. According to the American Express website, they state that you need an estimated 40,000 Avios points to have a return flight from London to New York. 15,000 Avios, according to them, will give you 1 return flight to Rome or other similar European destinations, and they estimate that you need about 9,000 Avios points to go from London to Berlin or other similar European destinations. And what's really interesting about that is that I mentioned earlier that you can earn Avios points by referrals, and the offers that they make typically changes over time, but you can earn anything between 12,000 Avios points and anything up to 42,000 Avios points if someone refers you and you signed up and got yourself a British Airways American Express card, either the free one or the one that you pay for on an annual basis. You would get a bonus given to you, which you could then use towards flights to various destinations, depending on where you might want to travel to eventually. Now, how on earth do you earn a companion voucher? Right, I'm just going to bring us back to the cards I mentioned earlier, these 2 cards here, okay? And these are worth mentioning because the way you earn a companion voucher really depends on your spend on an annual basis. So on this card, which is the free one, this blue one, the current rules are that you need to spend £12,000 per year on this particular card, which is a free card, in order for you to get the companion voucher. On this particular card, where you have to pay an annual fee of currently £250, the limit is that you need to spend £10,000 in order for you to earn a companion voucher. Feel free to pause at this stage of the video to check out what the various benefits are depending on which of these 2 cards you have. Now, I can already hear some of you going, £10,000 a year or £12,000 a year. That is a lot of money to spend in a year. And I completely agree with you, okay? Completely agree. But this is where being a bit savvy with this whole thing really comes in. And this is why we explored this as a way to try and reduce our travel costs by exploring ways of making savings for our holidays. The way we do this, the way we build up this limit of £10,000 in a year, so in our own personal lives, we've actually got these 2 cards that I've got here. This one here is Mary's card, and this one here is my own card. And what we do is we aim for 2 companion vouchers in a year, and then we commit those 2 companion vouchers towards a nice long haul holiday. And obviously in the last 18 months, we haven't all been traveling due to what's been going on around the world. But as more people start to get back to traveling, this might become something that you might want to consider yourself. We aim to reach the annual spend on these cards by asking friends and family if they have any large purchases. So I may speak to my dad or my mum or my sisters, and if they have any large purchases that they have planned for, that's the key. It has to be a planned expense. And they've got the money to incur that expense, then we can put through the expense on this card, for example, and earn 1.5 Avios points for every £1 that's put through here until we reach the limit of £10,000 and get a companion voucher. And so what that then does is when Mary earns her companion voucher here, she can get an extra ticket and take me along to a holiday. And when I earn a companion voucher on this card, I can get an extra ticket and take her along to another holiday, or we can combine them and use them for our 2 children, where we can have 2 companion vouchers and get 2 free tickets, giving us a total of 4 tickets that we then used for our trip to St. Lucia or to anywhere else that we might want to travel to as a family. Now, I'm just going to put up a comment that I saw on a previous video we made about our travels by a guy called Omoti, and he posted, basically saying that he does exactly the same thing. He's got himself 3 companion vouchers recently. And what's interesting is that he actually has got this free card. He's got this free one, But he's got a family member who is in the buildings trade, who often has heavy purchases, and he's been able to get them to put through their expenses on the card, earning him about 3 companion vouchers. So it's good to see that this is something that other people within our community have explored for themselves as well. Only make planned purchases, and please, please, please pay off your credit card in full, because the interest rate on these cards, you don't even know what the numbers are. They're far too high. You don't ever want to incur an interest charge. Set up a direct debit if you're going to explore this at all, and make sure that your cards are always paid off in full for this to be worth your while every single month and year. Now, saying that though, let's say you've now earned a companion voucher. How on earth do you use it? How do you use it to book these flights? Okay, let's do a walkthrough of what it looks like. In order for you to actually use your companion voucher, you need a British Airways Executive Club account. This is a free account that you can open, and I'll put links to it below for you to head over and check it out. Once you sign up, you get an 8-digit username that you need to take that number, which is 8 digits, and give that number to American Express. The reason you're doing that is for them to then link your British Airways card, whether you've got, this one or this one, for them to link your companion voucher to your British Airways executive account. So that way, when you log into British Airways to try and make your flight bookings, you can then see your companion voucher. And here up on the screen is an example of me logging into mine to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about here. And you can see on that screenshot that it says the word redeem in blue for you to go ahead and redeem that companion voucher and book a flight with it. When you click on that, it takes you to a whole new screen for you to go ahead and book your flight using Avios and your companion voucher. Again, that's up on the screen for you to see what I'm talking about. So once you do that, you can then select your destinations. And if you're somebody who might want to upgrade to business class, this is a good place on the screen for you to select business class as the class that you want to use, and then click Get Flights. In that example, I've chosen a destination to Barbados, for example, and you can see up on the next screen, it then gives you the options that are available. These seats are special seats for people who use these companion vouchers, and people typically book them up to a year in advance to make sure that they get the specific seats for the dates that they are looking for. And once you do that, then click continue. And you can see up on the next screen, it then gives you what your flights could look like. For this example of a couple traveling to Barbados, for example, you can see at the bottom of that next screenshot, it then says there that that couple would need a total of 137,500 Avios points, and they'd need about £1,075 of taxes that they need to pay. So in this case, the couple would have used the one companion voucher, one person taking the other person for free, and then they need to pay the related taxes. Okay, so the next question is, can you use more than one companion voucher at the same time? And the answer is yes. I mentioned this earlier, you can absolutely combine them. So, if you're a couple, for example, you can go ahead, if this is something you want to do, get yourselves either 2 of these paid cards, or 2 of these free ones, or 1 of each, like we're doing in our own lives, and you can combine them and book a family trip if you are a couple or if you are a family with some kids. Are there any recent changes to be aware of? So as at last week, only last week, there were some changes that came about. So the first change, apart from the price change for this particular card, which went up from £195 to £250, there were changes for this particular card here, this free card. So ordinarily, if you earned a companion voucher on this free blue card, you can use that card to upgrade from economy to business class. But I believe due to the pandemic and everything that's happened, this is my own view on this. They went ahead and changed the conditions on this card such that even if you earned a companion voucher on this free card, from my own research, my understanding is that you can no longer use this free card to upgrade to business class. You can use it to fly, economy, of course, use your companion voucher and take, your friend or your spouse or whoever, on a trip to wherever, but you need to fly economy. But my understanding now is that in order to upgrade to business class or premium economy or whichever one you want to upgrade to, you would need the paid card. So it would seem to me that they are obviously trying to get as many people as possible to, move from the blue card to the one that's paid for. The other piece of news as well, it's worth mentioning, is that this card used to have a £20,000 annual required spend, but now has a £12,000 annual required spend, which is a good thing as a result of the recent changes that they've made. Now, should you sign up and try and get one of these cards in order to get a companion voucher? Being completely frank with you, it really depends if you are somebody who's interested in upgrading to, business class and things like that. My understanding is that most people who do these things, who collect points and so on, are really doing it because they want to upgrade and get a different experience. That certainly is the number one reason why we do it. We not only want to save money, but we want to actually experience a different type of flight experience. But I want to mention, almost put out a warning, that you should not go and get any credit card, whether it's this one, whether it's any credit card for that matter, if you are not good at managing your personal finances. The only reason this works for us, being 100% frank, is that we are absolutely militant about making sure that any balances incurred is absolutely paid off every month without fail. Now, this is an obvious question to ask, and I know it's going to come, but which of these cards should you get? Okay, I know I'm going to get people asking me this question. If you're going to do it at all, please get a card that really suits your personal circumstances, okay? If you do not have the budget for an annual fee on a card, please don't get a card with an annual fee, okay? Do what really suits your personal circumstances. But in my personal opinion, the paid card actually makes a lot of sense because you get to keep the companion voucher for longer. You get to keep it for 2 years compared to 1 year on the other card. This card, companion voucher, expires after 12 months, but with this particular card, you get to keep the companion voucher for 2 years. But this is just my own personal opinion, okay? So I'm willing to spend, a couple £100, £250 a year thereabouts to experience going on business class with my family for a long flight to have a nice holiday. But you really have to make that decision for yourself as to what matters the most for you. But please, as I mentioned before, don't get involved in credit cards if you are not good at managing your personal finances. Okay, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Have you done these hacks before? Have you had an upgrade as a result of collecting points? What's your experience? Jump in the comments and let me know, guys. Hope you really enjoyed today's video. If you really did, please hit that like button and share this video with one other person. And as ever, guys, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care.